Hello viewers, and welcome to Neil Williams' first episode of his iRacing career. Neil is a racing gamer who did really well, made it to the GT Academy finals and just missed out at the end there. But very talented, certainly, learned a lot behind the wheel. We've got him on iRacing now and he's going to produce a few blogs for us. He's not an editor, he's not a commentator, but he's certainly a top bloke and a very skilled driver, and I wanted to share some of that with you. So he's going to be starting today. The first few minutes of his video are going to be all about the menus, so do take your time to get through those first few minutes. There is a fair bit to learn when you first get on iRacing, and he'll try and get through that as quickly as possible before he gets to his racing. And then after that you'll see his first race, and then ongoing from there you'll see the content expanding over the coming weeks and months as he develops his career, learns ever more, and then capitalizes on that in showing you guys all the information on what he's managed to learn and achieve in that time. It's an exciting road ahead for him, and it's going to be educational for those who like console gaming, moving into the world of PC gaming as well. But I'm not going to speak anymore. I'm going to hand over to Neil Williams and see what he has to say.
Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of iRacing. This is Neil Williams of Team VVV, and we're just going to bring to you today just a quick explanation of how to go through iRacing and how to start your career basically. You start off with the home tab and you've got the race guide, press room and dashboard. Basically this is the way you can organize your races, have a look at what races are coming up. Press room is where they release any kind of important information for iRacing, such as new cars, new tracks, information like bonus credits, as you can see there. Reference is where you get a lot of information that's very good for beginners, such as rules and regulations, but also setups and tools. So that'll come in really handy when you start driving cars that are adjustable and you might not be sure of how to adjust them. Series selection is as it says, it's just a place that you can go and have a look at what series are up at the moment. You might need to purchase some content to enter certain series though. So events, this is where you can have a look at some of the results of past races. You can also watch other racers, other drivers. You can also watch your stored replays here and view the calendar, which will show things such as license promotions. So we go on to my first test session ever in this Mazda MX-5 on Lime Rock. So as you may or may not know, you always start with the Mazda MX-5. There's two versions of it. There's a UK version and a US version. And as far as my experience goes, well, my limited experience with iRacing so far, is that the US version is slightly quicker than the UK version. So it does seem to have a little bit more torque, a little bit more power, so you can drive through those gears a little bit faster. So my first impressions on the Mazda MX-5, yeah, it's a cool little car. You know, it's only got 170 horsepower and I think it's a 6-speed gearbox. So I mean, the good thing is that you don't need to well, I mean, depending on what settings that you use, so if you've got auto clutch on, then obviously that's fine, then you don't need to use the clutch. The only thing I would say about that though is it is not really the quickest way to drive this car. So it's probably the easiest way to drive it, but there is a little bit of a time penalty. Whereas if you disable automatic clutch and blip and, you know, throttle blip and all this kind of stuff, then you can probably drive the car a little bit quicker. So how it works is that you only need the clutch for upshifts, and for downshifts then you just need to blip the throttle. Yeah. As we see here, what happens. So this is one of the problems that I've come across, is that you need to really time the blip and the down change quite well. Otherwise, what happens is you get stuck in neutral, or you get stuck in a low gear, and then the back end just swaps around. And then there you go again. That's the same issue. So I just thought I'd put that in this video just to show you some of the problems that you might come across. So just make sure you time those throttle blips nice and well, and it should be, yeah, you should have a lot of fun with this car. It's got an interesting handling. The optimum performance range is fairly narrow, although it's not the quickest car out there. What I'd say is that you've got to be really smooth with this car and try and turn into the corners quite early. Don't try and like force it into the apex late on into the corner. It's not really going to work. and once you lose the back end on this car, it steps around quite easily, to be honest with you. So that's my suggestion. Turn in nice and early. Also, it's quite easy to lock up the brakes with this car, so you've got to modulate your braking as well. You can use your trail braking quite a lot. This car responds quite well to trail braking, so that's a good thing about this car. It's fairly understeery, but once you get the tires to warm up, it's definitely a really fun car to drive. It's I would say it's pretty much perfect for anyone starting off in iRacing. The track as well. It's my first time being on Lime Rock. I've heard about it before, but I've never experienced it in a sim. I've never seen it in real life or anything like that. I don't think I've even seen any races on TV with it. But yeah, great little combination. However, my first 2 races at Lime Rock didn't go too well, so I've actually put my I've actually recorded my first race at Laguna Seca. So this is Albert Schutz on pole position. Behind him is Mario Haugas. So Mario Haugas in second position, and I'm in third position just there, pulling away. As you can see, Albert Schutz made a jump start at the beginning, so I think he's misunderstood the message there. What happens when you do a jump start is you have to come in for a stop and go penalty. As you see somebody on their roof there. I think there's Mohammed. Mohammed in the background there. Anyway, I forgot his name. But yeah, just explaining to you. So what happens is if you do a jump start, you have to come in for a stop and go penalty. Whereas if you're seen to cut the track and gain an advantage, then you're ordered to slow down and give the time back. So I think what Albert Schutz has done there is he's misunderstood the message. He's slowed down. Whereas he could have carried on until I think you have to serve your penalty within the first 3 laps of the penalty being issued. So he could have carried on in the lead there, and he could have minimized his damage. Whereas he's still going to have to come in and serve his stop and go penalty. As we see a massive battle going on for third position there, coming up to the famous corkscrew where the car gets really light there. So that is, I believe, Juno Rantala in third position there, fighting hard for his third position. Behind him is, I think that is Paul Radin. That's Paul Radin in fourth position there as they come up to the hairpin. There's not a lot of the corners on this track are named. So as you see there are his contact as he goes through there. It's a bit unfortunate, but not enough damage for him to come in for any repairs or anything like that. So he carries on. That's Juno Rantala. So you see there Mario Haugas still leading, and that's me in second place there. So this race I found quite tricky, just because it was I think it was only my third race. As I said, the first 2, as you see there, someone blows an engine. I mistakenly said that I was Paul Radin earlier on, but it's not actually Paul Radin. I've actually forgotten. Oh yeah, William Donnison, that's his name. So that's William Donnison coming through there. And yeah, so you can see what he's done, I believe, is that he's probably changed down into a gear that's far too low. So yeah, it is possible to actually blow your engines in this simulator. So you just need to be careful with that. This car probably you don't need to go anything lower than third gear generally on this track, except for the very final hairpin where you'll take that in second gear. So you see here's one of the nice camera angles on this simulator, the gearbox camera angle. You can hear him missing a gear there, and I was just having a look on the inside there, just thinking about it, but you know, when you've had a couple of disastrous races, you don't really want to, you know, be taking too many risks in the race and stuff like that. Mario Haugas is also a bit more experienced than I am, so he understands how to drive this car a little bit better than I did. So yeah, and so bringing you the gyro cam. I haven't, you know, before I actually went on to iRacing, I didn't actually see too much of this cam before, but actually, for me, I really enjoy it. I think it looks really nice, especially in a replay. As you see there, braking for the Andretti hairpin, the sharp left hand. As I said, I use third gear in this. I find that it's perfect for that, and you'll find that the quickest guys online as well if you watch some of the replays on YouTube or anything like that, you'll find that they also use third gear through there. So I'd suggest if you are going on this track with this car, just use third gear. Here all you do is you just lift slightly and let the car turn in into the apex. You'll notice around this track as well that on the apex you've got a massive red curb. As you can see, you've just passed one there. So that red curb is your is what you should be aiming for. That's your apex in the middle of the corner. But just be careful not to actually run over it, because it can actually upset the car quite a lot. As you come through the sweeping left-hander, there's quite a tricky little curve there. So yeah, coming up for some heavy braking again. The car tends to lock quite a lot through here, and then it gets very, very light over this section, and then you come here. This is the rainy curve on the left-hand corner here. Again, the back getting very light. You see Mario Halgas just running onto the sand there. Again, if you should try to be very careful through there. The back end easily steps out, and then once again the hairpin, the only second gear corner on the track. So car locks up very easily through there as well. Also easy to spin off. Be careful of the runoff as well. If you go too wide, then that can deduct points off your license. So as we go back to the leaders here, so Mario Halgas leading me, and I'm just trying to have a look there. And that in third position, that is Paul Radin. He actually had quite good pace during this race. He was more than capable, I'm guessing, of racing with us at the front. The only thing is he got stuck with all the battling at the beginning, as you see there. That's what I'm talking about. The back just spins around quite easily. So and then what normally happens is if you're too aggressive with the steering input, then yeah, it can bring the back round quite easily. So he's got a bit of a battle on his hands now. He's got to get back up to where he was. As you see there, William Donison bringing his car back to the pits. I think both the cars there have a bit of damage. So yeah, you can see engine completely blowing there. Interesting feature in iRacing. Literally everything can get damaged. So you have to be very, very careful with it. And I have to say that does encourage good racing. Generally, anyway, you still get crashes in the simulator and online racing. So just be careful with that. Be careful with the damage. It is quite important. So it does kind of. You have to kind of choose what kind of strategy you want to go with in your races. It might be worthwhile going into your races initially with a conservative approach, just to make sure you've got some points on the board, and just to make sure that you don't lose too much with or you're able to gain really with your license. You want to improve your license. You want to move to the next series. And then carry on. As you see there, Mario Halgas started to pull a bit of a gap on me. I think he started to find a good rhythm, and I just started to find the car a little bit. I wasn't really ready to push the car to its limits just yet. So as you can see there, though, I was still managing to stay with him. So this is Muhammad Alif, as I believe. Yeah, so Muhammad Alif coming through. I think he's in 9th position. Oh no, this is Albert Schutz, sorry, I beg your pardon. So Albert Schutz there fighting back after his and that's Muhammad Alif going off on the side there. So Albert Schutz fighting back after his penalty, his stop and go penalty that he had to serve. It's pretty painful when you have to do that. It's very, very slow speed limits in the pit lane. So try and avoid the jump starts and things like that as much as possible. You don't want to be serving any stop and go penalties. So yeah, Albert Schutz coming up to one of the other drivers there. Apologies, I actually forgot his name as well. So you can see Albert Schutz just having a look down the inside, but thinking better of it. And then he comes through. I think the car in front has actually got some damage to it. So you see Albert Schutz there, even though he didn't really get a good run off the final hairpin, he's already down the inside, and he's practically passed already. So even before they come up to the braking point for the Andretti hairpin, he's already passed. But yeah, he has a look back down the inside again. So yeah, but Albert Schutz again, once again, just basically having looked down the outside, sorry, and then he switches back to the inside there. The car in front definitely got some damage to it. He's really off the pace at the moment. So Albert Schutz probably the quickest guy on the circuit at the moment. Unfortunately, had to serve that penalty, so that speed is he's not going to be able to maximize the benefits of having that extra little speed. But hopefully he'll enjoy the rest of this race. So Muhammad Alif there, I believe he's in 9th position, having a look at that 8th place, wanting to go past there, and then you see there, and so you can see how hard he hit the curb there. He was actually pretty lucky not to spin around there. So coming up to the corkscrew again, these two having a nice little battle there for 8th position. As you can see, Muhammad Alif gets a big shove up the back and unfortunately spins around once again. So he'll have to try and get himself going once again. There we go. So he's back on the circuit now. Still in 9th position. He qualified in 11th. So he's actually got a net gain of 2 positions there. I think there's a couple of guys who've retired from the race. So he's got a net gain position there. He would have been a little bit higher up. He was running as high as 7th position earlier on. As we go back to the leaders, they're still really close together. So I was still trying to put Mario Hauges under pressure, just make sure he doesn't relax too much. So that's the main thing. I mean, if you can't find a way past the guy in front, don't try and force your way through, because that generally is not going to work out too well for either of you. So just take your time, but try and stay in his mirrors there. As you can see there, Paul Radin also fighting back after his spin. Has a touch there with Timothy Janke. So yeah, he's fighting back. He's got really good pace as well. So let's just see if he can nip through on the inside there. Yep, pulls off a very nice out-braking maneuver there. So he's back up to 5th place. So he's got in front of him Gino Rantala. So if he can, I think what we'll do is we'll actually stay with this battle here. So the 3 of them are actually battling at the moment. Paul Radin and Timothy Janke actually catching up to the back of Gino Rantala. So under heavy braking there, I think Timothy Janke had to actually pull out of the line slightly there, just worried that he might actually hit into the back of Paul Radin. So as you can see, Paul Radin still struggling with the back end of that car in that sweeping right-hander there. So that's the only thing is just be careful, with the amount of steering input that you put into the car. It can actually bring the back around quite easily. So the car's flying up there. So this car is actually quite quick. It's only 170 horsepower, as I said, but it does produce some really good racing. You can have some really close racing with this car, and it's also pretty fast. It's a lot quicker than you'd expect it to. I think as you can see there, Timothy Janke, that's what I was speaking about again. If you hit the inside curb there, those red big curbs in the middle of the corner, they're a lot higher up than the rest of the curves, so just be careful with those. And so we see there back with the leaders, you can see Hauger started to pull a bit of a gap on me there. So it just got to the point where Hauges was getting quicker and quicker, and I wasn't really willing to push the car over its limits, just a bit worried about that. So yeah, I'm just cruising around there now in 2nd position, hoping that he'll make a mistake, but at the same time not willing to try and push myself too much. I don't want to touch the sand. I don't want to go off. I don't want to spin. I don't want to make any contact with him, because I remember what happened to me in the previous races, the last 2 races. So there you can see Paul Radin. He's caught up to the back of Gino Rantala, and just trying to see if he can find his way through. As I said, Paul Radin had some really good pace earlier on, but just a pity he made those mistakes. So you see, like, once you spin off, if the guys in front of you don't make any mistakes, then it's costed you quite a lot there. So once again, one of my favorite cams, the gearbox cam, and you can see what the driver behind is trying to do. You can see there Paul Radin actually pulled out of the braking a little bit, just to give Gino Rantala a bit of space. So that's one of the tricky things about this simulator as well. And if you listen to the steering input, you can hear a lot of scraping, a lot of squealing on the tires. and then there again, here again. So Juno Rantala a little bit too aggressive, maybe just feeling a little bit under pressure from Paul Radin there. So Paul Radin manages to go on, and he's back up to 4th position. So he's made up quite a lot of positions there, and Mario Haugas has pulled off a nice gap. So he's quite well ahead now. So I've pretty much definitely settled for 2nd place there. But Mario Haugas looking good for the win there. Looking good. And yeah, looking comfortable in 1st position there as I come around the corkscrew hairpin, and this is where, and this is where I just lose the back end just slightly. It's quite tricky to catch the back end. If you do feel the back end stepping out, my suggestion is to just put a little bit of opposite lock straight away. Yeah, so just go for that opposite lock. Don't try and accelerate too much to try and catch the back end. Put that opposite lock in, very gentle. As you can see, that's Ludwig in 3rd position there. Ludwig's driven a solid race so far, so he's catching up to me there. He's in 3rd position, as I'm in 2nd there. But hopefully, as you'll see, I should have enough pace just to open a bit of a gap on him again. So Ludwig just driving a nice consistent race, and not really looking to get involved in too many battles. So you might find that in this level of racing, as you can see, he just loses the back end there, just loses a bit of time, unfortunately for him. So the gap's been opened up again, and then just gives you that little bit of extra breathing space. And now that if you're in this position where you've lost a lot of time to the guy that you're battling, best suggestion: just relax, take it easy, and just get the car home. Get those points on board, and then gives you a chance to improve your iRacing and your license as well, so you can move on to that next license. So just coming up to sweeping left-hander there, always tricky to get through that corner properly. It's very, very quick. All you do is a slight lift off the accelerator and then back on. But during race pace, I actually just dab the brakes a little bit and then just go through there like that. Dab the brakes a little bit and then back on the accelerator. So yeah, as you see there, once again, just losing the back end off the car. As I said, very, very tricky through there. So Muhammad Alif again, we go back to him, and he's still in 9th position. And there you go again, once again, just hitting the curb there and then spinning off. And I think he just taps the wall there, the tire barrier, but he should be able to keep going. Yeah, I don't think it's enough damage for the car to stop there. So he carries on going. So just thought I'd include that there, just so you see the kind of mistakes that you want to try and avoid. And this is Mario Haugas coming towards the end of the race now, leading very, very comfortably. He might be a little bit disappointed that he didn't have too many people to battle. So he's coming up there. He's on the last lap. Just looking to get the car home nice and safe, and yeah, there he goes, nice and smooth on the curb there a little bit. If I was him, I'd actually probably stay away from that curb as much as possible. Doesn't need to be running the car out wide there. So as he comes up to the hairpin for the last time, the 2nd gear left-hander. So that's his last time through there, nice and easy, and very comfortable win for him in the end. I did try to put him under pressure in the beginning, but he probably always had the pace advantage over me. So a well-deserved win there. He's come through. He's got his points. There we come in 2nd position once again, just losing the back end there. So yeah, that's my race. Just a bit of nerves at the end of the race there. You might find that as well when you're coming towards the end of the race. There's just a few nerves kicking in, especially if you're leading or in a good position. You see there, Ludwig, he's had a little bit of an issue himself off onto the sand there. But coming through, I was quite happy about this. Obviously, wasn't happy about the spin, but still managed to salvage 2nd place. Definitely improved my points and stuff like that. But yeah, Ludwig in 3rd position, solid drive from him. So anyway, so this is coming towards the end of our video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you look forward, stay tuned to some more races that we're going to be bringing to you, some test sessions as well. But that's it from me for today. Please join us again in the future, and just enjoy some of the highlights from the races. Okay, goodbye.
So Neil's first run there at Laguna, or his first, exactly his first race, but it was his fourth race, and he's run at Laguna Seca. I said to him, save your first race, show those crashes, but Neil doesn't always want to show those, but I wanted him to share with you the ups and downs of iRacing, because if there's one thing about iRacing, when you first get on it, is you realise how hard it is. You know, he's using a manual clutch, it's getting used to that at the start. There's lots of little details here and there, which he'll be sharing with you guys and expanding upon in his future videos, and we'll co-commentate a few of those races as well. Also on the channel, you'll be seeing his quick preview of the rough car that he's been driving. He absolutely loves it, and he'll be sharing some of that with you as he does some laps around Spa, and we'll have a couple of races on the channel which we'll be co-commentating in the coming days as well. So the iRacing content starts here. We're going to grow it now on VV over the next few months. It's all set to run now. There'll be no stopping this time, and as ever, there'll be more from me very soon.